Statistically, Trae Young is one of the most outstanding players we've ever seen. In NBA history, Trae Young is tied for third all-time in assists per game at 9.51, having a higher assists per game mark than legends like Chris Paul, Isaiah Thomas, Jason Kidd, and Steve Nash, and only being lower than Magic Johnson and John Stockton. He already has the second most seasons averaging at least 25 points and 10 assists at just 26 years of age, has the fifth most 30-point 10 assist games in league history, and just became the first player since Oscar Robertson to have back-to-back 30-point 10 assist games to start an NBA season. This is only scratching the surface of what Trae has accomplished in his NBA career, and he's also one of the most entertaining players we have at the point guard position. However, despite being as great as he is, Trae Young has become an afterthought in the eyes of NBA fans for many reasons. Matter of fact, many believe that his age contemporaries in De'Aaron Fox, Tyrese Haliburton, etc. have already surpassed him in league point guard rankings. In this video, we'll discuss the story of Trae Young's career thus far, just how great he is, and why he's been forgotten and honestly underrated. Before we begin, be sure to leave a like on the video, as each like makes a massive difference for the channel. Be sure to sub to the channel for even more content like this. At Oklahoma, Trae Young put up one of the best collegiate seasons we've ever seen, breaking the Sooners record for consecutive 20-point games, tying the record for most assists in a single game at 22, became the fastest player in program history to hit 500 points, broke the Sooners rookie record for most threes in a season, averaged 27 points and 8.7 assists on the season. With that, he became the first player to lead the nation in both points and assists, and garnered comparisons to Stephen Curry and Steve Nash. However, that didn't mean that he was looked fondly in the eyes of scouts. Scouts doubted him due to his size, which would inevitably hurt him at the next level with respect to getting a shot off, potentially being a liability defensively. And to be fair, they looked to be proven right in the first half of his rookie season. From the season opener to All-Star break, Trae was shooting just 41% from the field and 31% from three. What made matters worse is that down in Dallas, Luka Doncic was having one of the greatest rookie seasons in NBA history. Yeah, the careers of Luka and Trae Young will always be linked in the eyes of NBA fans because they were in fact traded for each other on draft day, with the Hawks actually trading back from pick 3 to 5 with the Mavs. But more on Luka a little bit later. Going back to Trae, he was a completely different player after All-Star break, averaging 25 points, 9 assists, and 5 rebounds through his final 23 games, and also got some Rookie of the Year shouts from respected players in the league. He wouldn't win the award, but with newfound confidence, the game slowing down for him, and with mastery of the point guard position, Trae was going to have an insane sophomore season. Surrounded by a 41-year-old Vince Carter, DeAndre Bembry, and Alex Len, much of the defensive focus would be towards Trae night in and night out, but he ended up torching everyone. Trae became an all-star on 29.6 points per game and 9.3 assists, while shooting 36% from 3 on a large volume. Now, Trae was living up to the hype as one of the best point guards already in the league, was one of the best deep-range shooters in the game, was not making players for fun, throwing the most ridiculous passes, and being a pick-and-roll maestro. Aside the lack of support surrounding him, this was insanely impressive given that he's just a generous 6'1", maybe, and 175 pounds, if that. He doesn't have the height to literally see over defenses and create for others. Rather, Trae uses his complete offensive package to create opportunities for his teammates. His craftiness with the ball, ability to stretch the floor, his uncanny ability to draw fouls, and his court vision all combined to make Trae an unstoppable force on the court. However, he was still overshadowed by Luka yet again. The Hawks were miserable in parts due to their horrendous roster, while Luka made All-NBA first team in just year 2, was already a bona fide superstar, led the Mavs to the playoffs while doing things you can't even do in 2K. In a vacuum, everyone is in a race against themselves in their careers and in life in general, but if the Hawks recognized that they had a generational talent and put the right pieces around their franchise point guard who could be elite in running the pick and roll, Trae could not only differentiate himself in that rivalry, but the Hawks could actually make noise in the East. And that's exactly what happened. Clint Capella, who they acquired from their past trade deadline, finally stood up for the Hawks. John Collins was healthy, and with the acquisitions of Gallinari, Bogdanovic, etc., the Hawks had a great offense that clicked at the right time. They catapulted from just 20 wins in 2020 to the 5th seed in 2021 and went on a Cinderella run for the ages, with Trae becoming public enemy number 1 in New York, the Hawks upsetting the number 1 seeded 76ers in a series they had no business winning, and winding up in the Eastern Conference Finals. This was Trae Young's stock at its peak, because despite Luka being an All-NBA player, he was a first-round out, while Trae led his team to the Conference Finals first. Not only did they just make the conference finals, but Trae made it an interesting series, putting up 48 points and 11 assists in his conference finals debut, becoming the first player to ever drop at least 45 points and 10 assists in a conference finals game. However, after losing that series, and there being somewhat optimism for the Hawks still, everything went downward from there. Despite Trae's statistical brilliance and the Hawks' second-ranked offense, the 26th-ranked defense made them free fall from the conference finals to a genuine sweep in the first round to the hands of the Miami Heat. Quite honestly, this is when people began to turn on Trae. The Heat's game plan, throwing multiple bodies at Trae and making life a living hell for him, completely worked, and he had the worst playoff series of his career. With those inefficiencies and porous defense, people began to question whether his playstyle could lead to winning basketball at the highest level, and how much of a detriment he truly was to the team defensively due to his diminutive stature. Whatever the case, the Hawks knew Trae couldn't do it alone and got him immediate help in the form of DeJounte Murray, someone who's supposed to defend in the backcourt and take ball handling responsibilities off of him, but it never worked according to plan. These guys were both natural point guards. Trae never fully adjusted to the more off-ball role they envisioned him playing, and them sharing the court appeared to be a your turn, my turn type of venture. Now, DeJounte's not even on the Hawks as he got dealt to the Pelicans in the off-season. Despite averaging 25 points and 9 assists in each of the last 5 seasons, Trae Young has really become an afterthought in the eyes of NBA fans, and here are the main reasons why. For one, he's always been linked to Luka Doncic, who was traded for on draft day, which is extremely unfair given that Luka is literally a once-in-a-lifetime player. Luka's been the best point guard in the league for 2 seasons now, has already solidified himself in the Hall of Fame due to his work in Europe and his absurd NBA career, is bare minimum a top 3 player on the planet. Secondly, people still think that Trae Young is the worst defender in the league, which is simply not true if you just watch him last season and the first 2 games of this season. Third of all, and simply put, the Hawks just haven't won. While Tyrese Halliburton and De'Aaron Fox are outstanding in their own right, a large part about why they're viewed higher in the eyes of some NBA fans is simply because their teams have done relatively well recently compared to the Hawks. Fox and the Kings were the 3rd seed 2 seasons ago and won 46 games last year, and the Pacers just made the conference finals, while the Hawks have been mediocre over the past 3 seasons and Trae hasn't played meaningful ball in a while. This is also a reason why LaMelo Ball has been overlooked outside of just his injuries. Finally, there are just so many great point guards in the league, between the likes of Steph, Luka, Ja, Brunson, etc., who are all going to influence the spread of attention across the league, and even those guys play on relevant teams. Well, those are just my thoughts. I'm dying to know what you guys think of Trae Young and how he's perceived by NBA fans. Where do you rank Trae among the hierarchy of NBA point guards, and why do you feel he's overlooked? Be sure to leave a like on the video, as each like makes a massive difference, and be sure to sub to the channel for more content like this. To see you all in the next one, and stay tuned.